coming back to what Mr. Stalin, we know, as you said, he has a lot of history. But let's be very, very clear and objective about the system we are practicing in Ghana. No, in Ghana, at the polling station, for example, in this election on December 7th, we are using 40,648 polling stations. We know the MPP and the NDC, they are contesting the parliamentary elections in all the 276 constituencies. So the MPP is going to have 40,648 agents for their parliamentary candidates at all the polling stations. And per the policy directives of the EC, they are supposed to have others also on standby. In the event that any of these individuals decide that, oh, I'm not feeling well, I want to leave, you just call for the other person to come. And for the presidential election, the MPP and the NDC, they are going to have 40,648 agents, and they will also have backups. So what that means is that for both the MPP and the NDC, you have almost 1,500 agents simultaneously at all the polling stations.
You don't have people doubling up as for the constituency election and for the presidential as well?
No, you don't have people. For the MPP and the NDC, you don't have.
All right.
Because, you know, this election, the elections, critical, when you look at it, we have 277 different elections. One presidential and 276. And you know, Ayawaso Central, those on the ballot for the parliamentary, they will not be on the ballot for the parliamentary in Adenta. So different elections. So, you know, at the parliamentary level, although you belong to a party, you are also thinking about your interest. So the parliamentary candidates also have their agents. So what the Electoral Commission has always been touting is that when you have these agents, two at a time, NDC parliamentary, NDC presidential, at the same polling station, two at a time, and you have trained them very well. We don't see how somebody should be able to influence these two individuals who you have trained as a party.
Who are opponents.
Who are opponents. How do you allow others to convince them? So, and as a political party, you have had almost about 3 years, 4 years to be able to put these people together. Even beyond that, in this election, 2024, I think this is going to be the election where we are going to witness the largest number of observer groups. And now we are hinching towards almost 20,000. So literally, we are talking about one observer per two polling stations. Do you
count the over 4,000 journalists as part of the observer
all of them are part. Okay. All of them are people we've accredited to go out there. And I know per the work you do as a journalist, if you go there and you suspect certain things going on, at times when they don't even suspect, they talk about it, let alone suspect it. So we think that the structures are such that, as Dr. Kweku said, if you really want to rig. So it's the reason why I disagree with what Mr. Stalin said. Because when you look at our voting, after the close, the counting is done in the full glare of the public. And you know, yesterday we had a press conference and the chairperson said, elections are won. No, when we had the peace pact, that's 3 days ago, she made it very clear that elections, we've always known that elections are won at the polling stations, and that has not changed. The basis of the declaration of the winner of the parliamentary election is from the polling station. The basis of the declaration of the winner of the presidential election is at the polling station. So, because the counting is done in the full glare of the public, whatever is counted there, that forms the basis. So, we want to encourage Ghanaians that go out there and exercise the franchise. Because what you are going to vote for, or the person you are going to vote for, on the basis of that, that person would either be declared the winner or not the winner of the election. At the Constituency Coalition Center, it's just a matter of amalgamation. We are putting the figures together. But in reality, what takes place at the polling station is the basis of the declarations for the parliamentary and the presidential.
At this occasion to have the presidential pact, we also had the British High Commissioner making a statement. I don't know what you think about what she says. And I quoted her. She says, the signing of the pact, of the peace pact, is an important and welcome step in the electoral process, signaling the party's commitment to a stable transition. Like the Ghanaian people, the UK wants to see this country continue to flourish as a stable and successful example of democracy in the region and beyond. Unfortunately, my colleagues and I are frequently told by a range of people that they fear Ghana's 2024 elections will be less peaceful than previous elections. An election that's not peaceful would be incredibly damaging for Ghana as well as dangerous. Is there no basis for these fears?
No, I from where I sit and from the work we've done so far as Electoral Commission and from what we are seeing the parties do, campaigning, now when you turn on the TV, it's like the parties have taken over the television stations as well as the radio stations. So I will side with Excellency Madam Thompson's first statement, but I think for what others have told her, it's not something I will subscribe to. And I think that every time we have elections, you know, there are some people who tend to imagine certain things which have always not happened. I think as a country, we haven't so much matured in terms of democracy. However, we've done this for, this is the 9th time we are doing it. So I think that we are always getting better at it. So I believe that for those who are expressing some of these reservations, they should have confidence in the Ghanaian people that Ghanaians will go out there. I believe what Ghanaians want is that the process must be free. The process.
Do you know how the people of Ho West, Ketu North, Keta, Ho Central, and Hohoi are thinking about what has just happened? That there is ballot shortfall, and we are now going to cater for it a week to the elections. Do you know how those who are affected by, or the generality of the public is thinking about this seal that has been broken in one of the,
Eastern region.
Yeah, in the Eastern region, in the ballot containment.
You know, I think, Mr. Yenene, one of the challenges in this country, we tend to exaggerate matters, which it's like literally at times people can just say, oh, I've seen something doing, when in fact, that's the complete opposite. What happened in the Volta region? It's not unprecedented in the balance in the work of the commission. In this election, we've had almost about 7 or 8 regions that has shortfalls. In all these instances, the first time we wrote to the parties was on 22nd November. I think we had a shortage in Greater Accra, in the Western North, in the Upper West. And it's normal, it's part of the process. And since 92, even in 2020 when we printed, there were shortfalls. Now I think it's because of...
Why should that be normal?
No, what?
That you have planned the process over years, and then getting to the few days to the event itself, we are discovering that you have shortfalls. You know, shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Oh, when you look at, you are printing a volume, something almost about, in this election, we printed over 19 million ballot papers. 19 million for presidential, 19 million for parliamentary. At times, people try to paint a picture of perfectionism. You are printing ballots. And when you are printing, this is what we do. You've assigned a printer that print these numbers for me. And you also have some people who are supposed to check to be sure that we have those numbers. And as an institution, the structures we have put in place are such that we have multiple layers of checking. The idea is that about 4 layers. When it gets to the final point, their job is to also check. They shouldn't assume everything is all right. So in this instance, the first one that came up was even in the Upper West region. We've had something in Bono, Western North, even in Greater Accra. Usually what happens is that when we do all the checking, we have even regional officials, party people to confirm the numbers. But what we've told ourselves is that once the ballots get to the regional capitals, all our district officers must also come. And when they come, they need to check. You are supposed to get 80,250 ballots. And the instances that happen in Ho, in the Volta region, in some of the constituencies, you have about 10 ballot papers. And it's part of the process, and we've always been explaining. And this is not the first time, but as an institution, we are always perfecting. We are working on
when
the
you
process.
are telling me that this year we are going to have the most credible elections ever, I don't expect these things.
No, I think for the ballot, I think what will be a major problem for us? Can you imagine on election day, December 7th, you mentioned is it K2 North? Then suddenly the ballots that were sent to K2 North in the Georgia area, the ballots were not enough. Just imagine what would have happened in Ghana, knowing very well that the voter region happens to be a serious area for one of the major parties. So, Commission has a system in place. Let's put all these structures. Once we do that, we should be able to address any challenges that will come. And those are the things we've done. And as we speak now, those ballots were printed yesterday. At the time we were even having the meetings with the parties, the processes were ongoing. And my understanding is that both the Bono and the voter regions are getting the ballots this morning.
Right. And you have trained, is it in excess of 210,000 election officers recruited, and training is still ongoing.
Training is still ongoing. I think most of them should be wrapping up today. A number of them. Usually we use the classrooms, public schools, and you get them mostly on weekends. But a chunk of them have completed the training. But we know by our calendar they are supposed to wrap up today.
And BVDs, that's the biometric voting verification devices, have been delivered to 8 regions.
No, now they've been delivered to all the regions. All the 16 regions.
Sorted.
The last ones got there yesterday.
So in the police armories across the country, the voting materials have been delivered. What's the circumstance of these places where you didn't have the 5 constituencies where there were issues, Ho West, Ketu North, Keta, Ho Central, and Hohoi, the shortfalls? You said you were going to do the printing and you asked them to bring their officers.
The printing has been done and they are supposed to get all the ballots today. Today.
All right. So as far as you are concerned, at the Electoral Commission, you are set?
No, I think nothing is keeping us awake. There is nothing keeping us awake.
Okay.
The reason is that all the things we have to do, we have done them and we are continuing checking. But I think it's commendable that over 19, almost now, when you put them together, almost 38 million ballots. And we are only hearing that from the Electoral Commission that now almost all the constituencies, they have everything intact. They have their biometric devices, which very soon, because we have the special voting, the items will move to the district.
Special voting on Monday.
On Monday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the same protocols that will apply on December 7th, they are applying on December 2nd. And we have all these materials. We are moving them to the district police armories. Then depending on the nature of the constituency, in some of them, the distribution of the ballots and the other materials will begin 3 days to the elections. A place like the Front Plains, you can't do it 24 hours. You need some extra time. At times, it may even require the officials, you send them to the highlands 3 or 4 days before the election. And all those things are well in place.
Dr. Bossman Asare is going to be with us until we end the show, and he will take questions from all the stakeholders who are joining us, CSOs and the